century ago, Mark Twain wrote The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calabasas County. The story tells of a bet made on how far a frog can jump. Frog jumping contests are a storied tradition, and one thing you can bet on is that one small town called Flat Rock is keeping that tradition alive.
2, 3.
I heard about the frog jumping contest in California that Mark Twain wrote about, so I thought, well, maybe there's something to it, and it's been one of our better crowd drawers. There's two things that really draw a big crowd, and one's a baby contest, and the other one's a frog jumping contest. Pretty well what governs the frog jumping contest is whether or not they can catch the frogs. Last year it was a dry year, and frogs are hard to catch, and we had 60-some, which was really a low number for us. And but if it's a good year and they can get the frogs, it's not uncommon to get 75 people here with the frogs.
The annual Flat Rock Homecoming is where all the fun takes place. The Homecoming is a festival started 35 years ago to bring people in the small community back together once a year.
Back in 1975, we had a sesquicentennial celebration, and folks kind of got together after that, and then of course the nation had their bicentennial celebration in '76, and Flat Rock took part of that with a little celebration. But then back in 1977 we decided to start an actual, folks said, let's go ahead and keep the festival going and do some things, and so far it's kept going. We did miss one year because of lack of help and interest. Had another group pick it up, so even though those numbers don't add up, this is our 35th Homecoming Festival here at Flat Rock. Flat Rock, we're a community of 415 residents. We've been here since, 1875. Actually, the village of Flat Rock was actually east of town. The old post office was set by a large flat rock, and that's why they called it Flat Rock. When the railroad came through town in the 1870s, that's when Flat Rock actually moved to where its present day the village grew up. We were a very large community down during the oil boom days. We had a large fire in 1912. 1912, most of this area you see around you, the park, around the park, the business area, all burnt to the ground. After that, the village of Flat Rock they'd made an ordinance that all buildings had to be built out of brick. And a lot of those buildings are still standing here in the park today, or around the park today. We have the most, now this is our claim to fame nationwide. It's been in a number of brochures, but we are have the largest amount of sidewalks per capita of any place in the nation. And that is mainly due to the fact we had all this leftover mortar and all this leftover cement and things like that where they were building up Flat Rock in 1913 and on. And that's why we have so many sidewalks.
Perhaps their second claim to fame is the frog jumping contest, once deemed the largest east of the Mississippi River. Drawing in hundreds of spectators and dozens of participants and frogs, the free event includes prize money for the winners and is a clear homecoming favorite.
No entry fee and no age limit. Adults can get in there if they want to. We'll have sometimes grandma or grandpa carry a pretty little one out there, and we allow some help for the ones that need it. Mom or dad or grandma or grandpa wants to get out there and help them. We allow them to help them. But once they put the frog in the circle, they can't touch it. They can stomp at it, spit on it, whatever they want, which they've done different times, anything to get it to jump, but they can't touch it.
We put the frog down, it gets 3 jumps.
1, 2, 3.
And I always try and tell everybody too, we don't want any frogs that have been on any kind of steroids or any. We'll drug test your frog if you bring it here, and it's we think there's something fishy about it. But no, most of them are bullfrogs out of local ponds, local sloughs, local streams, areas, and the kids go out and help their parents catch it. It's kind of a family thing, and there's a lot of competition involved, a lot of pride involved. But just to watch the frogs and people cheer them on and the different ways they try and get the frogs to jump, and it's very unique, I'll say that.
Some say unique, while others may say absolutely terrifying.
fun to watch. It's funny to watch. It's also scary for some of the participants out there, or some of the folks that are out there in the audience watching. You're going to hear a lot of cheering and clapping and even some screams of horror when them frogs take off for the crowd.
Frogs occasionally get out in the crowd, and there gets some excitement there too, because some people don't like them frogs. We've had them jump up people's pants legs and a few things like that really stirs them up.
The frogs come mostly from local farm ponds. JD and Warren say you can usually witness a scramble to catch them the night before the contest. The frogs are then released back into the ponds once the contest is over.
Bring your own frog. We don't encourage any frogs being shared. Mainly, I mean, one of the things is, you know, that it wears the frogs out. I mean, we do have a little compassion for the frogs. As a matter of fact, all these frogs are put in the frogs that the families don't want to keep. They're all put in a bucket or a drum with water in it, and we take those out and release them into local ponds when the frog jumping contest is over. So we kind of recycle. It's a green thing as well, pardon the pun.
Win, lose, or draw, the contest remains a favorite for a variety of reasons for those who turn out for it generation after generation.
I took part in one of the very first frog jumping contests. I was about 12 years old at the time. There's, of course, my father-in-law, who's run it for a number of years. He has his grandkids. His kids were in it. His grandkids are in it now. And then there's a Wampler family. Greg Wampler, I got to bring his name up because he goes out every year, and you ought to see some of the frogs he finds. I swear he's feeding them under his house or something. But no, there's definitely some competition and some other folks from, you know, kind of. I'm not saying we do any side bets on the side or anything, but there is some, you know, friendly competition going on too, yes. And it's one of those old-fashioned type of fun things that there's so much technology out there involved and so many things that are, you know, involve families, you know, or people being away from each other. This kind of brings people together, not only families together going out and hunting the frogs, but brings a community together to watch it and be entertained by something that's, you know, from years ago.